Welcome to Movies and Me Summer Vacation Edition. In this brand new episode, the host of the DVD Bunker, Mr. Brian Hurst, is joining me with one of the oddest pairings I've ever seen for a Movies and Me episode. Brian, welcome to the show, buddy. Great to have you here.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Yeah, I always like to keep people guessing, you know? I don't want them to see me coming, so something a little different every time.
Yeah, just before we get into your movies, you also run the DVD Bunker, which I think is a very unique sort of movie discussion show. Do you want to tell the audience a bit about that?
Oh, yeah, if you've never seen it, I'm over on the TUFF Channel with lots of Nolan's friends who've been on this show before. Basically what I do, I have this DVD collection that I've been kind of just amassing over the years, and it's quite large. And when you have so many movies, there's just ones you can't get to as often, and, you know, there's just movies in here I haven't seen. And then there's movies in here that I love that nobody else has seen. So I decided to, instead of talking about the same movies everybody else is talking about, to kind of dig through my old purchases and see what holds up and what was worth the money and what I regret. So that's kind of what I do.
So this episode is basically going to be like when Marvel and DC do a comics crossover, we're doing a DVD Bunker Movies and Me crossover. Because this feels like a DVD Bunker episode mixed with
Absolutely.
how
I
I
could
go
have
with
done
it.
a DVD Bunker episode on either of these. So this is like a double feature.
Yeah, and we're talking two of John Candy's summer vacation-centered films, Summer Rental and The Great Outdoors, which I had the pleasure of seeing last year. And before we get into this, I have to be serious here. Movies and Me, if you have a movie that's passionate to you, I don't give a single fuck what the ratings for it are, because when I looked these two movies up, they're quite low on Rotten Tomatoes, but I still had fun watching them. So, Brian, which one do you want to discuss first, Summer Rental or Great Outdoors? You're the guest. Go ahead.
Well, I figured, we'll go chronological. Summer Rental came out in 85, Great Outdoors came out in 88, so we'll just talk about both of them. We'll just go, we'll start with Summer Rental since it came first. First thing I should probably say is what made me want to choose these movies. First of all, obviously, I wanted to do something that I knew no one else. I didn't want to step on anybody's toes, so I knew I could get these ones in, and nobody's ever going to accidentally... You're never going to have a guest who's like, oh, can I talk Summer Rental? Oh, sorry, we already did it. Like, that's just not a conversation no one's ever going to have. So, but these are movies that I grew up with, that I loved as a kid, and watch and now have a new appreciation for because I'm a dad and, I'm a grown man and I can watch them in a different way. And also any opportunity to talk about John Candy, just a legend. So that's kind of what made me, when you were looking for picks, I was like, oh man, I tried to think of something that would be interesting, that wouldn't be what everybody else was talking about.
Strangely enough, it's not the weirdest pick somebody has. I have a guest booked who picked Jupiter Ascending, so I hope you guys are going to enjoy that episode, but that's the whole point of the show. I love talking about the movies that have a passionate connection with my guests. So, with Summer Rental, what is it about that, and is there like a favorite scene or a particular moment that you want to bring up for this? Because I thought this movie was really fun.
Yeah, obviously this is coming off the heels of National Lampoon's Vacation, and you can see a lot of that in this movie, the tortuous things that a family man has to go through and some of the other tropes that are in here. But I just love John Candy. I like seeing him. Nobody has that kind of run down quality, but still he's just always so lovable. I was actually thinking, I'm watching Summer Rental, and much more in this one than in Great Outdoors. His character can be kind of a little bit of a dick sometimes in Summer Rental. He can be a little selfish. I think John Candy in Summer Rental has much more of an arc than he does in Great Outdoors. Great Outdoors, he's much more of a straightforward comedy dad. Summer Rental, he's a man who's having a hard time. He kind of run down at his job. He's on the vacation. He's kind of actively rejecting his vacation, and he's not paying attention to his family, and he's just all this horrible shit's happening to him. But then he kind of a childhood love of sailing, and he starts to kind of get his fire back and gets into this rivalry. And I think eventually he gets to redeem himself, and he learns the right lessons and appreciates his family more and stuff. And by the end, as far as favorite scenes, hands down, one of my all-time favorite montages when they do the song and they're cleaning up the boat, getting ready for the regatta. turning around. Oh, it's so good, man. I love it.
I'm pretty sure that's on your
I also
iPod
really
and you
like
dance to it every day.
Yeah, it's so good. And I also like, this is just a little thing, it's over the end credits, all the pictures that she's taken throughout the movie of like the wife is always snapping photos, and it's just like the actual pictures, like the actress was probably actually taking pictures when she had that camera. I think that's a really neat little, it's just a fun little thing at the end. I really like that too.
Yeah, and there's one scene I wanted to bring up because I think these two kind of encapsulate like the dick side of John Candy, and that's the opening scene where it's clearly like, oh, I'm late for my job, I don't even have time for breakfast, I'm kind of being a dick to my kids, and when he's trying to get into the seafood restaurant, and then when he can't get it, he just acts like a complete asshole when he's leaving.
Exactly, like, you're supposed to, like, side with him, and he's supposed to be endearing, but he's totally wrong. Like, you're wrong. I get it that you're upset, but, like, sorry, that's just the way it is at this restaurant. You don't come in here the first day and, no, I own the place.
Oh, God.
And that's why the one thing at the end, I was like, now, do you think that he really learned, and does he really learn to appreciate his family at the sailing regatta? Is it really all about getting back at Richard Crenna, though? Like, are his intentions pure in this film?
I think it's a bit of both, because by doing that, he does grow closer with his family a bit, so it's kind of like giving both sides to...
Yeah, I agree. I always want to think the best of John Candy anyway, so I would have given him the benefit of the doubt, you know? I was going to say, I don't even know what I was thinking. I didn't have anything. But I did the two movies back to back, which I almost always do now. Like, they are just kind of like a single piece to me. His name is like Jack. His last name is Chester in Summer Rental, and that's Chet's name. Chet Ripley is Roman calls him Chester in Great Outdoors. I was like, we got a subtle little connection here that you're trying to. Is this a little hint? Is this a little throwback? I mean, it's first last name, but I was like, I feel that connection.
Are you making fan theories right now?
The John Candy shared universe.
My God, what is going on now?
Well, I was just about to say that I think his character from Home Alone is a continuation of Del Griffith from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So I'm all over the map on this one.
Oh, jeez. There could actually be some legitness to this. I mean, John Hughes is also involved. Oh,
right,
God.
Exactly. We got the John Hughes connection. They're riding in the back of a truck. I don't know. There's a lot of similarities here.
If you can somehow connect this to The Breakfast Club, I'll be impressed.
Oh, that's easy. I'll use the guy who plays the janitor. He's in every John Hughes movie.
Oh, Jesus, what is happening now? This has become the John Hughes Candy Shared Universe episode.
We've done a couple John Hughes movies on the bunker, so like I'm tuned into it, you know, and I'm a fan of a lot of them too. So I'm all tuned into that stuff.
Yeah, and Summer Rental it's a pretty by the numbers kind of vacation movie, but what makes it special to me is the way the characters are presented. Each one of them feels like a character. None of them really feel like boring archetypes, and it makes it more fun. And I kind of miss when movies had that kind of feel to them, because if you look at a summer vacation movie now, you get the Vacation reboot.
Yeah. Which, you know, I think the Vacation reboot is funny as a comedy, but as trying, you know what I mean? I think what hurts it is that it's hung up on the baggage of the original. Like, the comedy parts in it, the jokes land, it's written fine, but it's the fact that you bring all that baggage into it, I don't know, that doesn't work. Although I'm a fan of that franchise. Yeah. Even Vegas Vacation.
Well, we're about to move into an outdoors vacation. I don't know why this episode has so many puns out of all the movies in the episodes. Billy's probably been infesting me with these. So, The Great Outdoors, which also includes another comedy legend, Dan Aykroyd. What's your initial thoughts on this movie?
Top 5 Dan Aykroyd performance for me, by the way. Like, he's so good as Roman. I love him. All right. And by that I mean I hate him.
So, The Great Outdoors, since you've clearly probably seen this movie more than I have, I've only seen it once. What is it about The Great Outdoors that kind of connects it to Summer Rental to you and proves why you've got a passion for these kind of movies?
Well, again, I think lots of people can connect to the idea of that, you know, crazy summer vacation with your family. We've all been there. That's why these movies exist, you know. But And just the fact, obviously, the John Candy connection. I feel like these are like two parts to the same story, and then maybe the man who learned the lesson in Summer Rental became Chet Ripley, because Chet Ripley, like I said before, is a much more of a traditional movie comedy dad. He's just like really put upon. He doesn't have the same arc. He's already a good guy all the time. He's always trying to do the right thing. And as a kid, you connect to stuff in the great outdoors, like your dad trying to connect with you, but kind of being a little out of touch and not really, wanting to do the same thing. But then as a dad, you connect to the idea of like wanting to seem cool and show your kids a good time, but maybe you're on a budget and things aren't, you know what I mean? And it's just, there's a lot to take in, as a younger person, the summer love. I mean, I don't know if I experienced that, where you go off to a vacation place and you spend a week or two. I just think there's, people, I've been there, you're together with somebody for just like a week of this kind of like whirlwind, young love, and it's going to end, and you don't want to think about it or talk about it. It's got that, but then as a grown adult, really feel like there's a lot to enjoy on multiple levels. As a young person, I had things I loved about it. As an adult, I have things I love about it, and it speaks to different, It speaks to different things about the human experience, and in just a very fun family way. And even Roman has things to learn in this, and growth, and learning to like be a better dad to his girls, and I don't know. There's a lot to it on a family level, I guess.
Yeah, and the part you mentioned about like summer loves, I think that's also kind of relatable to not only adult characters but to teen characters as well. Because I had that when I was a teenager, when I was on a cruise ship. I had a little sort of Titanic romance with this girl there, and seeing that in movies like this, it reminds you of that. It gives you like this nostalgic flavor, and it has this way of putting a smile on your face. And if this kind of movie can do that, then I feel it's succeeded.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like I said, I feel like this is just a really fun, feel-good movie. It's got a lot of really great, iconic scenes, I think. I think John Candy water skiing. I don't know if I've ever seen a water skiing scene as funny as that. And obviously the old 96er with him eating the giant steak is like etched into my memory. I just love that whole bit. That's so funny. And yeah, I'm just a big fan. I just get a lot of enjoyment out of these films. I watch them, like I said, as a dual set at least once a year, always in the summertime. It's like I always get a summer viewing of Jaws in. There's just some movies that I got all time of the year.
Oh yeah, and speaking of summer vacations, what summer vacation isn't complete without a creepy campfire story that's going to come up and bite you in the ass later with the bald-headed bear?
Right, isn't this great? I love that story, and I love that it actually comes back. Like, they play it off the whole time, you think it's just a scary campfire story, and then the bald bear actually shows up in the end of the movie. And special shout out to that bear actor, Bart the Bear. If you're a fan of the movie The Edge or Legends of the Fall, before the CGI could make us a realistic Revenant-style bear, this was the bear you hired to be in your movie. And I want to give him a special shout-out, because I don't know if he's still alive. He's probably not. Bears, I don't know how long bears live. This movie's damn near 30 years old. So, great bear acting there.
Yeah, and, since John Candy and Dan Aykroyd's characters do have a bit of like a sibling rivalry, hostility thing going on, they still have good comedic chemistry together. Like, they work well off one another.
Oh yeah, they play the antagonist protagonist to a T. I mean, they're so good at needling each other, and I just think Dan Aykroyd is so great at playing it. Roman was kind of the proto Wayne Zielinski from Tommy Boy. You know what I'm talking about? The guy who is going to buy Callahan Auto. That's like who Roman became, right? See, I make connections everywhere. I connect every movie.
Oh God, I mean,
people talk about shared universes. All movies are in a shared universe for me.
it's taken over everything now. I mean, shared universes. I'm surprised someone's not tried to connect all of the John Hughes teen movies together. Although there's probably some guy out there who's done that.
There's just like the Pixar shared universe. They're all out there. They all exist already.
Yeah, and I think we're nearing the end of the show. So, Brian, I want you to imagine that I've never seen these movies, or that honestly, I think anybody listening may not have seen these because this is a very out there pick. What do you tell the viewers at home and myself to get me to watch these as a double feature? And do I have to watch it with my family to enjoy it, or can I watch it by myself?
Um, I would say it all depends on what age you're at. Because, like I said, I feel like both of these movies hit on different levels, and you can get something out of them. You come across them in your life. You know what I mean? If you're a young person, you can relate to what the kids had to put up with their parents. If you're an older person, you can relate to what it means to be an adult, how everything goes wrong on every damn vacation. I think John Candy is a comedy icon. I think he made so many great films, and these ones just hold a special place in my heart. I think he is very endearing, even when his character is not. And I get a lot out of these. Plus, like I said, iconic performance from Dan Aykroyd here. This is like maybe a top 5 for him in Great Outdoors, and just a lot of fun to be had. You know what I mean? I feel like comedies today are so worried about joke, hit, trying to squeeze as much in there. And I like that. I like when it works. But I also don't mind a film that's just a good, solid family movie for everybody to enjoy. Those tight 90-minute, fun summer movies that you just don't get anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's a great note to end us off on. So, Brian, thank you so much for joining me, coming on Movies and Me, and you were on Movies and Me Extra a while back talking Alien Covenant. We've collaborated twice. You're a great guy to talk to, so I want to let the people know where can they find you, and is there anything they want to plug?
Oh, yeah, always. You can find me on Twitter, @Hercules. And on the TUFF Channel on YouTube, on my show DVD Bunker. We're pretty good about getting an episode out every Friday. Like I said, we just talk movies. We love it. We're having a good time. And yeah, definitely thanks for having me on. I would be happy to come back, and I'm hoping I've got a couple things working, and I'm going to start trying to get to Skype in some guests for the DVD Bunker to talk movies. So, I'm 40 episodes in now. I want to vary it up. I got to get some different things going. So I got some ideas along with the top 10s, to do some other new types of episodes. So I'll look forward to that, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you on my show as well. Complete that crossover.
Hell yeah. I mean, do you have 16 Candles in your DVD collection?
Of course I do.
I will come on and talk about that anytime, because I love that movie so much.
That's good stuff. And the DVD Bunker has a hit and miss kind of relationship with John Hughes movies, because there's so many John Hughes movies that I love, but the ones we've talked about on the Bunker are the ones I've seen the least, and I tend to be harder on them because I don't bring the same kind of, I'm watching them a little more fresh. 16 Candles is kind of right in the middle. I love that, but I also haven't seen it in a very long time, so that would make for a great one.
Yeah, for sure. And as always, you guys can find me at Nolan Dean 27 and use the hashtag Movies and Me to help continue the conversation. And next week, we're heading into another childhood favorite. Writer Christopher Waltz, not that Christoph Waltz, writer of the Dead Oaks Horror Podcast, and I believe he's a YA horror writer as well, is going to be joining me to talk about Jumanji, which I am so excited to talk about with him. And it is a great one, buddy. And if you guys like this episode, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.